down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Hey, you tuned in to the Savvy Radio Show, man. I'm excited. We're on a roll heading towards 2020, and I'm trying to get it done, trying to create a system and a format to make the radio show sing. And today is Friday, funky, fabulous, freaky Deal Friday. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm just teasing. Anyway, Best Deal Friday is what it used to be called, and I'm bringing it back. And I'm just going to call it Friday Deals. I don't know. Every Friday, I'm going to try to break off a deal of some sort. Maybe it's an interview with somebody. Maybe it's my own deal. And just to make Fridays fun. So I'm tweaking the Savvy Radio Show. And so just so you can have some expectations rolling around for 2020, I'm gonna mess around for December, see if I could stay committed. I'm committed 100. So we're gonna start off with Mondays, an interview of sorts of somebody on the radio show that I can interview, and hopefully that's called in my world Monday Inspiration. Wednesday is, you just heard that 2 days ago, walk through it Wednesday, bang, bang. Hopefully that's good. Now, Thursday is a crap shoot. I'm going to be throwing all kinds of random stuff, but at least once a month, I'm going to drop some sort of technology on you. I used to do Nerd Rock Wednesday. Now it's Nerd Rock Thursday once a month. And then I got some good feedback from some friends out there on 101 Things to Know, that even some veterans text me and said, man, I picked up a nugget or two. So I'm going to try to drop that at least twice a month as well. So hopefully this schedule works. If you have any ideas, tips, or what makes the podcast successful for you, I would love to know so I can get on it and contribute it more. If it's working for you, it's got to be working for somebody else. If there's a question or a subject, somebody else is thinking on the same thing, and so we'll roll with it. Anyway, if you didn't know who I am, my name is Stephen VanCauwenbergh. You tuned in to the very long intro of the Savvy podcast, and today we're going to talk about a deal. Friday. It's Friday for some. Some of y'all have day jobs, and Friday is a time to look forward to it. When you get to a certain specific time, Friday doesn't mean anything, but it's Friday. But everybody else, society thinks it's spectacular, so we're going to do a spectacular deal. And matter of fact, I just rocked a spectacular deal, and I'm going to run it past you. First of all, it is a commercial deal. That's a lot of things that I have been, a lot of people have given me feedback on. Hey, man, talk about your progress in commercial. And if that's something that's interesting to you, I have morphed into going into commercial. The market of residential is not a market at all. It is I don't know what game is out there, but I don't know how long it's going to last. Been doing real estate for about 20 years, and wholesalers are not wholesalers. So, but anyway, I got a deal, and I've been working this deal for a long time. So first of all, there's a couple things that need to be outlaid. A commercial is not easy. First of all, I make it sound easy. I'm going to run it past this opportunity that I had, but you know, I learned a lot since August. So we're in almost 6 months: August, September, October, November, December. So it took me 4 months to close this deal. It took a gang of education and a lot of money to get to this point. But I think it's a really cool creative deal, and I hope this inspires you in some form or fashion. Well, first of all, I made a decision. That's the first thing. You got to make a decision that you're going to do something. If you're going to get into real estate, make a decision that you're going to be the best investor out there, being period, or wholesaler, or whatever the case may be. I made a decision. I'm going to get into commercial real estate. And so I started hanging out with commercial real estate people. I started going to luncheons like RIAs, but for commercial people. Totally different game, totally different climate. And for another episode, that may be the deal. Anyway, I met this realtor at a function at night, and we built a relationship. And I actually took notes because I was going to do a podcast on how I met this guy and how I fostered this relationship. And that will be another podcast. If that interests you, I would like to break that down on a Wednesday, walk you through the process. So first of all, make a decision. Number two, what's next? I built a relationship with the guy. And so I found a realtor. I found the realtor, and he started spooning me some deals. Now, commercial's different. They have different MLS systems, but I got a deal in my zone. And I was like, wow, this is kind of what I'm looking for. Let me give you the parameters of it. If you're in Oklahoma City, it is Northeast 36th and Kelly. It is 34,000 square foot office space. Don't do offices. Retail space with about 9 current tenants in there, ranging from a barbershop to a realtor, to a church, to a retail store, to a tax accountant, to a lash place, to a printer. So those are kind of the mix of tenants that are in the facility. And this individual that was selling the property was willed this property from his grandfather. His grandfather built this property. And so I was like, okay. And so it's just interesting. The property was listed, I believe, for $800,000. And it's in, I believe, as my homie says, Thomas Morgan, in the path of progress. It is in the path of progress. And East Side is hot, and I knew it's going to be. I've been on the East Side for a long time. And so I just made an offer. And so I did a little due diligence on the front end, did some analysis, and I found out right around the corner they're doing even more massive development, and that might be another podcast. So I was like, this is a win-win. So he wanted 800, and my numbers, the number that I came up with was 500 based on the cash flow. And the gentleman, my realtor, was like a little sketchy in the beginning. He was like, I don't know if we can get it for 500. I think we can get it for 600. I'm like, all realtors kind of, not all the same, but they kind of have the same kind of sensitive mentality. Don't rock the boat. And I was like, sir, okay, I appreciate that. And let's just see what this guy says. So hey, we're going to offer 500. And we're going to put $20,000 down that we're playing, and we're serious about this acquisition. So little to know me, the seller came back at $625. Now, doing my due diligence, I found out that another investor before me made an offer. I also found out that the property has sat for several months and it hasn't moved. And usually because I think people are just nervous of the East Side. This is a large, unique building. It's shaped into a V. It's not that easy to manage these type of tenants. And these are just unique tenants themselves. These are not basic, class A, a supermarket tenant that, they have a corporation. These are mom and pop people that are trying to survive in their small business. And so that's one thing, that's one caveat that you got to kind of deal with in general. So I do my due diligence, and I was pretty stoked on, I knew that I could close it at 600. I knew the value of the building. I knew it was at least worth 800. In my mind, my plan for this building was to hold it for 3 years, let the other developments around it cash flows as is. And I think in 3 to 10 years, it's a long-term play that it would be worth $1 million. That was just my first analysis. And so as I started digging into the property, it has a new roof. It has new AC units. Several years ago, it had an insurance claim, and the owner put a ton of money back into the property. But location did not yield for the amount of effort and energy that he put into the property. But he wanted to get out, and I get it. He's got this property willed to him. It's turning into more of a laborious endeavor for him. The rents are about 50%. So if you want to do a value play, when you're in commercial, you're looking how to create value, how to increase the cap rate. Meaning, if something's worth 800, if I just maybe raise their rent by 10%, the building could be worth almost $1 million. And so that was the play that I was trying to go in. I was going in. I knew that this is the path of progress. I know that was going to happen. Over time, I've been watching this area for a long time. Across the street, there's a brand new development, and they're leasing that development at $12 a square foot. That landlord is a little rough. We're leasing between $2 to $5 a square foot in this facility. So I knew that it was undermanaged, deferred maintenance, and I knew that the seller was in this position. I also knew the person that made an offer before probably gave him a really low offer. So my offer was attractive. And so he came back with $625. I was like, nope, I will come back with $550. Now, finally, after long conversations with my new realtor, he understood that I knew what I was doing. And so long story short, boom, we got it under contract for $550. Yay. So first thing you do is that you pull out an appraisal, boom, got an appraisal back, no money down deal. $767,000 was the appraisal. So I'm like, boom, no money down deal. I'm going to borrow $600. I'm going to turn around and infuse cash into this, jazz it up, raise the rents, maybe move some tenants around, let them know that the new sheriff is in town, and this is how we do business. And so when this was nerve-wracking deal for me. I make it sound easy. This has been 4 months, and it wasn't easy. And the first thing I had to do when you're in the commercial space, you got to really do true due diligence. And even if you as a residential real estate investor, you've got to do due diligence. I was hanging out with an investor the other day, and he pulled the FEMA report and found that there was in a flood zone. And then he went and contacted an insurance agent to get a quote for the insurance, why he was making an offer. Fabulous. What a go investor. And so when you're doing that's actually called due diligence, and actually good due diligence to get all your ducks in a row, even if you close or don't, just so you know what you're getting into, because you get emotional. And so I got the building, and so I had to kind of just reframe my mind from, I can buy $50,000 houses all day, but when you're buying a $500,000 acquisition, it's a little bit different. And so I had to wrap my mind around, which, Stephen, I'm talking to myself, I had to put another zero on the process. So how much would you spend to do due diligence? Would you get a termite inspection? Yes. Would you get a plumbing inspection? Yes. A roof inspection? Yes. Well, in the commercial game, a lot of people will come out there to your property to do an inspection for you, anticipating that if there is a necessary need that you would hire them. If not, you can pay them a fee for their time. Well, in commercial, it's the same, but it's not about hoping to use them. It's like, you're going to pay me to do due diligence for you in inspection. So I had to call the super roofer. I had to call a super plumber. The plumber sent 3 people all day, a $500 bill, and scoped every single water line, sewage line, ran every water. I mean, these poor guys were amazing, and the phenomenal plumbers, expensive, but well worth it. Again, I had to remind myself, $500 was a deal, actually, but I had to remind myself that it's the same thing as a $50,000 deal, just add another zero. So then I had to hire an electrician. Now the electrician came and he charged me $60 an hour, and he went through every single unit, tested every unit, looked for every electrical wire, what concerns, and then I had a plumber go through the same plumber go through every water heater and determine everything that's going down. So during this due diligence, a lot of things popped up. The heat and airs were actually relatively new, so the heat and air process was pretty good. The roofer said that, hey, there's some little concerns. There's a lot of it, well, half the building or majority of the building had a new roof except for one little area. And then I got to the plumber, and the plumber is like a little dramatic and said, hey, VanCauwenbergh, it looks like a sewer line has collapsed. And I was like, whoa, okay, buddy. Can you put that in writing and email that to me? He's like, okay. So it was around $25,000. And so after my due diligence, these are real bids. I racked up close to $100,000 worth of repairs of deferred maintenance. Now you know where I'm going with this. So I went back with the seller. I said, hey, this is what I found. And in my mind, I would really wanted another $25,000 reduction off the price. Some people call it retrading, TRR in some worlds. So in a commercial, the way you handle it's a little bit different. You kind of be sensitive into how you deliver this information. And so what I did is I made another packet. I put every invoice, every detail, every inspection. So roughly about 13 or 14 pages, an itemized report, completely detailed, organized, bona fide, with certified licensed contractors, and I submitted that, and we negotiated back and forth, and we landed on $515,000. So the seller, actually, I think it was roughly around, maybe it was $70,000 or $80,000, but anyway, he gave me a concession off the price from $550,000, reduction of $35,000 for myself to do the repair. So boom, again, the property came in at $767,000. I only owe $515,000. Everything is bueno. So then I contacted the bank, filled out my application with the bank, gave the bank a vision and a direction of what I'm trying to do with this property, the numbers. And again, you have to do another packet of explaining when I think it's maybe over 500,000, I would say over 250,000, there's a different line of questioning that's going to happen, because your banker is going to present this packet, this sales or this loan application, this loan process to the board of directors, and they want to know why. And so again, you got to deliver what, you got to put it on paper, what you're going to deliver, what your expectations are for the property, and when are you going to use the money. So I got that process rolling. They're like, hey, VanCauwenbergh, you're going to have to pull a phase one. If you didn't know that, it's a pretty basic standard thing that you do on all commercial properties. Not every bank, but I would say about 95% of the banks and all the commercial deals that I've done, I've always been requested to pull a phase one. And I believe my phase one, now my appraiser was around $1,200. And so thus far in this process, I've spent about $8,500 just doing due diligence, knowing, no, not yet. I'll get to the main, I'll allocate all that here in a minute, but just to be able to walk away. So I pulled a phase one, and the phase one came back and that they found trace contaminants on the property. What a phase one does is they go back to all the records that have any entity or business or whatever you want to call it that has touched that property. They go through all those files and they figure out if it's safe from any kind of chemicals or anything that could ever have changed hands in this property. You want to do a phase one. It kind of basically protects the bank. They come back and they said, hey, Mr. VanCauwenbergh, there was a dry cleaner in this deal. And I was like, a dry cleaner? Okay, big deal, and all my friends that at this time, 4 months ago, I was seeking counsel because this is a unique commercial building that I haven't acquired, a retail. I have some retail, but I haven't had it like this and this large at 34,000 square foot. It's not the price tag that I was concerned with. It was just the magnitude of the deal, because just one of the units, Family Dollar General rented, it was 8,000 square foot. When I got on the property and when I'm trying to rent to a new Class A tenant, they're going to want me to build the suite. And for me to touch the flooring on an average about $3 a square foot, meaning cleaning it up, stripping it, and putting new flooring down, is going to cost me about $24,000, $3 a square foot. So you do the math. 8 times 6 is 24. 8 times 3, $24,000. So this is a different game, and you can't make little mistakes like I've done in the past. Hey, I need a new sewer line. And that sounds like a big undertaking. On a residential property, that's between $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000. In the commercial world, we're cutting up concrete. It's a totally different concept. And so when this phase one came out, most of my friends were like, hey, walk away. And so when I got the phase one and I read the phase one, majority of the people walk away. But see, my little weirdness is like, in my mind, I'm a rookie commercial guy here. I don't claim that I'm some big dude at all. I'm like a small dude in a big fish, and I'm trying to learn this game. So I was like, hey, I already dropped $5,000 thus far. Hey, might as well keep going. That's how dumb I am. And I have $20,000 in escrow. So I got 20 G's in escrow. I have all this due diligence, and then phase 1, the bank is requesting, hey, you need to do a phase 2. And I said, okay, sure. How much is that going to cost? $5,000. Okay. $5,000. But I'm really interested in the building and building a relationship with the seller and my realtor. And, you know, I was like, okay, let me throw the dice. And that took about a month to 6 weeks of back and forth banter with the seller and the realtors, and just trying to make that process make sense. But for me to really know, I mean, there's ways that I could acquire the property at that point in time. And so, oh man, should we keep going on this podcast? Because we'll just stop right here, and because it's 20 minutes. I'm trying to keep the things down to 20 minutes. Anyway, so we'll stop here on the phase 2. If I forgot any questions or any concerns that popped up that I haven't covered yet, let me know, and we'll get back to you. Talk to you soon. See you next week on the 20th. We're doing deals on Friday.
What is the Savvy Bootcamp? Are you struggling to get to the next level as a business owner, as an investor? Do you want to multiply your income? Sign up for the Savvy Bootcamp, a strategic and supercharged one-night and one-day event designed to shortcut your learning process and propel you forward. Just value, no upsells, and an intimate setting to build relationships with like-minded investors. We will be covering how personality profiling can make you a millionaire, outsourcing and the nitty-gritty of maximizing your property management, scaling your business through systems and automation, technology hacks you should be using every day, and how to raise private money. Go to www.savvybootcamp.com now to register or to find out more.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter @LandlordBook and always be buying assets.